and I fought against it. Yeah, frustrated, mate. Absolutely massively frustrated. Another totally unnecessary defeat, brought by terrible game management, and just a terrible second half after what was a very promising first half. Yeah, but other than that, mate, all good, all good. We're in the bottom three now. Got a tough run of games coming up. Everything's looking positive. Let's not panic too much. Everything's absolutely perfectly fine. It's not a problem. I mean, we've only been working towards this for 2 years. We've only put 190 points on the board across 2 years to get to this point. Yeah, all good, mate. Absolutely fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic.
I can see the sarcasm in you, which I do absolutely love.
It's not, sorry, mate. It's not like I'm not saying it's not you, mate. You are a delight, as always.
No, I mean, took the lead. It was, I don't know, it was a scrappy goal, whether or not VAR got involved, offside, foul on the keeper, whatever. But thankfully it was given. Not that it really mattered. In the end, obviously, half-time comes, we're 1-0 up, half-time comes, they make a quick sub, and then all of a sudden, that's it. They go up 1-0, and then game changed. Craig, what did you think about the game or lack of game management and the substitutes?
It's hard to. I'm getting tired now trying to break it down. It's getting to that point where trying to understand what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, first half we were good, and I thought we were going to pull out a performance again, and then second half we just didn't turn up again. So
yeah,
short and sweet, and top and bottom of it, isn't it, really?
Real
you should add as well, lads. Sorry, just to bring things positive. Award-winning podcast.
Award-winning
podcast.
Obviously.
We are qualified to go mad today at the team. We are qualified now officially. But big thanks, guys, anyway.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe.
There you go. Let's get the subscribers up on this.
And let us know your thoughts on the game as well, because obviously we will divulge into Farke, whether or not he should still have a job or not. I think we all probably unanimous on that. But for me, I just thought the subs in particular came way too late. You could hear the fans singing it 10, 20 minutes before for it, calling for James to come on, Monto to come on. James, I thought, kind of changed the game because we needed something different at the time, because it was all Villa for that 20-minute, 30-minute period. They took their chances. First of all, that free kick, good free kick, terrible goalkeeping position, which we'll talk about in a minute. But James, I thought, changed the game and let down by DCL's hand. Like, Craig, what did you make of the subs? Like, should they have been done earlier or what?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's easy in hindsight, isn't it, to say this should have been done and that should have been done. But you could see, like, when you've got players like Dan James on the bench and nothing, you're not creating anything, and you've got Nonto on the bench, and it's like you need them substitutes a bit earlier. Like they made 2 substitutes at half time to try and change the game for them. So we should be reacting to that because they did change the game for them straight away. They were on the front foot in that second half, and we should have done something to combat that. But giving yourself 20 minutes to change a game against Premier League opposition is crazy.
No, completely. Yeah, obviously one of the subs, which Oscar, I know you're not too happy about, Tanaka. Let's hear your thoughts or your rant on that. We'll let you have the floor.
Well, yeah, I'm not coming into this pre-planning the rant, but I can feel the rant coming within myself at this moment in time, because my head absolutely was on Mars after that substitution was made. Because since when did you have to automatically substitute a player off the pitch when the books? When's that become a thing all of a sudden? Do we not trust Tanaka to not dive in? Tanaka is not a defensive midfielder. He's not having to snap into tackles all the time. We know he likes to tackle, but he could have easily controlled that. There was no reason to think he shouldn't have done. And yes, the fourth official said this, the fourth official said that. Ultimately, I don't really care. And I think the biggest thing with it is it's not so much even taking Tanaka off. I mean, that is a big part of it, actually, is taking Tanaka off. It's going to 4-2-3-1, taking the midfielder off to put an extra attacker on and just opening ourselves up to Villa was what we effectively did. At that point in the game, we had no control. And Villa scored pretty shortly after that as well. And I'm just thinking, what is going on here? You know, Aronson then moved to the number 10. James moved to the right wing. I mean, we all want to see James in the team. We all want to see that. Probably from the start, really, if we're being totally honest. I think it's been well overdue. I think you clearly saw in the international break that Dan James is fully healthy. I think that was sort of my question mark at times this season, that Dan James hasn't looked fully fit. I think he is fully fit. And yeah, opening up the midfield like that at 1-1 is absolute madness. It's madness. There's no other word for it. You know, with the whole thing we've built ourselves on this season is 4-3-3, three solid midfielders, keep it tight. Then we just totally open things up at 1-1 in a time when the game was on a knife edge. At that point, you know, it could have gone either way. At that point, it just totally was in Villa's hands. You know, I felt, you know, we just gave him so much time and space. Morgan Rogers was starting to sort of make things happen. Jadon Sancho came on. It was hard for us at that point. Of course, there was a bit of a reaction when it went to 2-1, but I just think that was a case of Villa sitting in and being happy to sit on, you know, a 2-1 leads. You know, at that point, I don't think we had enough offensive threat. I never really felt like we were going to get that back to 2-2. You know, I know we had a chance. I know we had this loud goal, but even after that, I just never really felt, oh, we're going to get this to 2-2. You know, we can't create anything outside of set pieces at this moment in time. Name a chance outside of the Dan James moment, which was disallowed anyway, that we've created outside of a set piece today. I can't. And I thought we played well in the first half. I just think the same thing's been happening all season. We're relying on Okafor 1v1 out wide to make things happen. Okafor, I felt, had quite a quiet game today by his standards. And with that, no matter how on top in the game we were at times, that never really happened for us either. The right-hand side, you clearly saw when James came on, Bogle looked a lot happier in terms of having that out ball, you know, ahead of him. Joe Rodon did as well. It just made life a lot easier when Dan James came on. And unfortunately, we were chasing the game at that point. And you know, what I look at with Brendan Aronson, for example, is it's not even so much him losing the ball. It's the fact that he's not even trying to make something happen when he loses the ball. He just can't keep hold of the ball. It's not a case of he's trying to be madly inventive with the ball and, you know, trying to make something happen. He just can't keep the ball at this moment in time. You know, first half I thought was good, but we have this with Aronson where you can put a 45 minutes together where you think, you know, he's actually tactically, maybe not so much in terms of individual quality, but tactically he's made things happen, you know, in terms of, you know, making that right-hand side look fairly solid. But then in the second half, it will get followed up by he can't keep the ball. You know, all of a sudden, Villa put a little bit of pressure on, don't give him quite the same level of time and space, and Aronson can't cope with that. The midfield, you know, at times where the press didn't lost a bit of energy, which was natural because we were running like absolute madmen in that first half, in a good way, by the way. But we just could not sustain that in the second half. It was kind of a case of a look at it and say, what is the point of doing everything we did in that first half if we're just going to absolutely be blowing out of our arses in the second half? Sorry for swearing, but it needs saying. We absolutely had no energy in the second half. Even after the substitutions, we could not press with the same level of intensity. And as soon as that happened, you saw the gaps appear between Longstaff and Ampadu, Tanaka and Ampadu off the ball. Villa had moments from that. And we keep conceding the same goals. The first goal, again, is a cutback. You're thinking, who's tracking the runners? And it's not even, you know, I say who's tracking the runners, it has to be tactical at this point. When you keep conceding the same goal every single week, you keep conceding the same goal, surely we've got to look at it and say, maybe no Okafor trying to stop a cross off Donyell Marlon was not the best strategy in dealing with that situation. Why is Jadon Bogle following Morgan Rogers all the way into the box like that? Why is Pascal Strauch or Joe Rodon not picking him up? Where's the communication? Where's the actual training on the pitch to improve this, to sort this out, to stop conceding goals like this? We're about to play Man City next week. Jeremy Doku, Haaland, Cherky, Foden, Reinders, Bernardo Silva, whoever it is, they might even not put out a full-strength team. You know, what's the plan with that one? We played Chelsea the week after that. You got Reece James and Cucurella cutting the ball back into João Pedro. Cole Palmer potentially might be back for that game. Esteban, you know, obviously how good he is 1v1. What is the plan for these games? You know, this is the biggest worry for me. It's not even so much the league position. You know, being in the bottom three at this point on goal difference normally would not be a big concern to me. It's the fact we play so many winnable games. This is also, maybe not so much a winnable game, this was a game where we could have got a result from today.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
we're not that good today.
You said there about communication at the back. You also had it the front as well with Bogle and Aronson. Not long before we got the free kick for the goal, Bogle was running up. He saw Aronson and looked like he didn't really want to pass it to him. Didn't look like he trusted him. The same with like Longstaff, looked like he'd done it a couple of times. Didn't want to pass it to him, but we had to because there's no one else around him. Okafor, there was an attack and it was a counter attack in the 25th minute, and he just stopped on the edge of the box and just passed it to Tanaka when you had 3 other players in front of him or 2 other players that you could just laid it off to for an easy chance, or try and shoot. Goodmanson, not long afterwards as well, did a massive run. Yes, he cut back and it was cut out by, I think it was Konza or Torres. But again, it's the communication there. Whereas last season, Farke would have cut back and found a player. Whereas I don't think Goodmanson's got that link up yet, the know-how or the knowledge of where our players are going to be. And it's, like you say, what are they training him?
Well, it's the space that you put it into, and then it's up to a player to be in that space. But last season, who were in that space that Firpo could back to?
Solomon, Perot.
That's it. There was someone always running into that space, and this season they're not the strikers that we've got or the players we've got. They're running near post and they're running in the front of goal. So the poachers, they're not box crashers. So it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating.
I think
it's the same mistakes every week, though, Craig, isn't it? This is the thing. We've been doing the same things. It's pretty much.
To be fair, that first goal that Rodgers scored, he had no right to score that goal from that angle.
Finish. No question about that.
From that angle. But what I'm saying is he had no right for that ball to go across the goalkeeper into the far post. If that goes in the near post, 9 times out of 10, which they usually do, I can understand. But to go across the goalkeeper to the far post and go in from that angle, it just... somewhere there should be, because you can only thread that ball through at that bit, otherwise it don't go in. And yeah, don't get me started on the second goal. So we'll leave that for.
Well, let's go into it because that is a joke of a goal.
Yeah, because when he was setting his wall up, did you see his face? Did you see Perry's face when he was setting the wall up?
Well, if we can just start with before the whole situation came about, in terms of the build-up, because I'm going to come on to Perry's face. So that is a very important thing to point out as well. How has that happened? That in terms of the build-up to it, Goodmanson, to be fair, I thought was excellent today. By the way, I thought Goodmanson was absolutely brilliant today. One of our best players on the pitch. He has made a mistake. Listen, I'm not going to just I have players that prefer and players that don't prefer. Everyone knows that. We all have that. We're football fans. Goodmanson made a mistake. I'm not going to, brush that under the carpet. He made a mistake. But it should not lead to the situation it led to. It shouldn't lead to Pascal Struijk then trying to correct for Goodmanson's mistake, diving in. Why is he diving in there? Why is he not just standing up? Why is he diving in and allowing, the best case scenario is he might win the ball. The most realistic scenario is the Villa player skips past him or he gives away a free kick in a really dangerous area with Morgan Rogers or Digne standing over. I actually thought Digne might take that one.
He came off. That's why
it was Markson, wasn't it? It was on the pitch at that point.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. But yeah, it should not lead. The initial build-up to the free kick should not happen. We've conceded too many goals from set pieces this season alone. The biggest thing for a newly promoted team is that we might not be able to match teams in open play, but let's at least, when we've got so much height in the team, so much physicality, let's at least not concede from crosses into the box and set pieces. That should be a minimum kind of requirement. And yes, I know it's a free kick, but I'm questioning the wall as well, by the way. I'm questioning the wall because if you actually look at Rodgers' strike, watch the wall initially. You're not going to dig out individual players. As a collective, it wasn't good enough. And don't even get me started on Paris. Why Paris committed so far across to one side of the pitch, one side of the goal, I do not know. And then I'll let you take the rest, Craig. I'll let you take the rest, mate.
No, well, all I'm going to say is, like I agree with you with that the build. The thing about us, being a physical side, and the naivety of jumping in like that, you've got the players that play for these Premier League teams. I'm not just talking about Villa, but they'll know when to go down. It might not be a proper foul, but they'll know when to go down and buy and buy them free kicks. I mean, today that was a free kick, but it didn't need to be. He waited for that. Like he knew it was coming, and it's one of those that we've got to stop being naive around the box when it comes to putting a challenge in. But yeah, the wall, when Perry was setting the wall up, I noticed something that he were asking. I don't know what he was saying, but he were trying to get something organised, and then his face, he just like shook his head, like someone wasn't doing what he wanted him. So they came to the wall to try and sort it out. But then I thought, right, okay, well he's sorted his wall out, but then to stand so far over there, it baffled me, because it's like from that distance, right on the edge of the area, it's very, very difficult to get your ball up and over the wall and on target. So he could have just stood in the middle of the goal like that.
Why isn't he trying using these, Craig? Why isn't he trying using his hands?
Yeah. But he didn't even
positioning is one thing. Position is one thing, but it's not the be all and end all on free kicks. I know, I understand at times you need to be further across to one side, let your wall do the rest, but it's not travelling at speed. It's not particularly. It's in the middle of the goal essentially. Why can
he don't need to be either side, because
exactly. Why can he not?
It's not that far out. It's not that far out that he's going to bend it, or he could just stand in the middle of the net and save that. You what?
He's done it before.
Yeah, but the thing is, he sorted his wall out, and number one, the wall didn't jump high enough. They're just like a little.
That was shocking. That was shocking as well, by the way.
It was a pathetic jump that the wall did, but then Perry just didn't move. Just stood there.
It genuinely looked like match fixing. I'm not being, I know it's not. It wasn't match fixing, but I've seen less obvious match fixing than what that was. It was that bad, and I don't think Perry's a bad goalkeeper. I'll keep saying it. I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper, but I just don't know where Perry's head's at this moment in time. I think he's trying to overcompensate at times. You've seen it sometimes on set pieces, corners coming into the box. He's just making crazy decisions. He's panicking. If you look at, I think it was either at 1-1 or 2-1. It was in the second half anyway. Ollie Watkins cut inside, has a shot. Paris totally spills it, and then Strauss panics as well. Paris then panics to sort of clear it away. I'm thinking, it's just things like that. They slowly add up. The crowd gets nervous. The defence gets nervous around him. Who knows? Did Pascal Strauss then start to panic after that moment? Because it was a very nervy moment, that one. Does that then start to... Because, listen, I do like Pascal Strauss. I've said it already. I've said it many times. I do like Pascal Strauss as a player. But we do know that Pascal Strauss, sometimes when the going does get tough, Pascal Strauss sometimes struggles. When he starts up a game badly, even at championship level, this was the case, he does struggle to get back into the game. I think that's possibly Pascal Strauss' biggest weakness. We saw it in 2022, 2023. He'd start a game okay, make a mistake, and then the rest of the game would be horrendous in Pascal Strauss. And I think he's improved as a defender since then, but it's not good enough. It really is not good enough. I mean, we keep going from... I'm going to change the subject slightly here, but I just think it's a bit mad at the minute in terms of Biol and Strauch. He has to commit one way or the other now, for me, Daniel Farke, or whoever is the new manager, if it is going to be a big change, whoever it is, if it's Daniel Farke for Man City or if it's Johnny Howson for Man City, I don't know. But, I don't know. Is it Pablo coming in for Man City? I don't know. Well, whatever we do, we're going to have to settle on the partners to Joe Rodon or go to a back three. Whatever we have to settle on something, because it's no good for anyone in this team if we keep chopping and changing the centre backs. You have to try and keep your centre back player in, especially when we're not playing in Europe. We're not playing cup games here and there because we're so bad in the cups. We're out already, and we're guaranteed to go out in the FA Cup third round as well. We have to stick with a centre back pairing for me. Whatever it is we do, we have to stick with it now. We can't keep chopping and changing. It's no good for Strauch. It's no good for Biol. It's no good for Perry. It's no good for the midfield in front. It's just, it can't work, kind of thing. Biol and Strauch are so different that you got to play in a different way with either player. And chopping and changing between the two, I don't know. It's just very indecisive. Personally, I would go with Biol for the time being. But I'm not massively committed on that either. But whatever he wants to do out of the two, he has to stick with it now.
Things that no matter what you do, if you go to a back three, you're either going to miss one from the front three, or you're going to miss one from the midfield three. Yeah, so either way, you're losing that. So I think 4-3-3 is good defensively, but we lack the attacking threat between the mid and the strikers or the front three. There's nothing there. Whereas when we changed for 4-2-3-1 after the goal, when was it Pirro and Nonto came on, we were more dominant in that sense, but we lacked when they attacked. As soon as they counter-attacked, we were sceptical so many times. So it's just finding the right balance, and in-game management is pretty poor. But you touched upon Perry a fair bit then, Oscar. So let's do player rating for Perry then. What would you rate him? Craig, do you want to go first on Perry, or should we leave it to Oscar?
Let Oscar take it.
Let's go first. Right, okay. Because he's not had a lot to do today. You know what I mean? He's actually not had a lot to do. And the things he has had to do, he's made a horrendous mess of.
We basically shot ourselves in foot today. We could have, if we right game management, we could have took the points.
There was even a moment with Paris where there was a pass back to him and he just scuffed the kick. Just went straight up in the air. It's like one of my golf shots. It just went straight up in the air and nowhere. Just didn't cover any distance. 4 out of 10, maybe lower. I don't know.
Ash.
Well, you can't concede a goal like that and not be. A mistake's a mistake, but that was not just a mistake. That was just a total wrong decision and bad execution. I think it was a twofold mistake, that one.
Yeah, thinking back, he didn't make any outstanding saves either, did he? So
the save that obviously Oscar's already touched upon, where he saved it but parried it.
Bread and butter for a goalkeeper.
Should be catching that.
Yeah, he should be catching it. In fact, you criticise the save because he should be catching it. He should be holding it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So right, 4. I'll go.
There we go. There we go. Put my foot down there.
I mean,
I was going to go for a straight 5. I want to go for 4.5.
Right, averaging at 4.
Yeah.
That's fine. Right, Bogle next, and touch upon Bogle a minute because of the yellow card situation. He had a yellow. You said, "Oh, you take Tanaka off because he's got a yellow card." At that time, Bogle had a yellow card, and so did Ethan Ampadu. So, in that theory, then they should have been substituted as well.
Yeah, but the narrative was that the wording was that that came across from the fourth official were one more foul and he's off because it apparently in the ref's eyes it were fouling a lot, so it was one more foul. Huh?
In that case, Josh McGinn should have been sent off because the amount of fouls he was giving away and doing.
Josh McGinn? You mean John McGinn?
John McGinn.
Whatever
Josh.
Exactly. But McGinn, this is what I was saying earlier about people like these teams. They know how to get fouls and stuff like that, and we're too naive to it. John McGinn were doing it all game. He was back into Goodmanson all game, and eventually he got his foul for it. And the Tanaka's first the yellow card that Tanaka got wasn't even a foul in my book.
No. We could do with a John McGinn though in the team.
We need someone like that. I was saying that.
Something like that.
I was saying that in match preview. He's the player that I don't. If he gets hold of this game, that's where we lose because we need a player like that.
Right. So back to Bogle then. Craig, what would you rate him?
I'll give him a 6.
6. Oscar?
I'd actually go higher on Bogle. I thought Bogle was pretty decent. I'd say 7. 7. I won't go mad about it. I thought it was just a decent game for him. 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, I thought he had a good game, especially that marauding run that he did down the right hand side. But then it all messed up towards the end of it. But
I'll go 6.5. I thought he was decent. I was saying to a Villa fan, I thought he was good, and Villa fan said that he didn't think that he had a decent game. But so this is why I always say that football is a matter of opinion. We all see the game differently. So I'm going to go 6.5 for him. Right, probably one of the best, or probably our best player, Joe Rodon. Oscar, I'll go to you first.
I wouldn't quite say he was our best player on the day, but I thought he was very good. I think he was very, very good. Although, when we're speaking about the wall, I have got to take a mark off for his part in that because he didn't read it right. Whether it was, I'm never going to doubt that Joe Rodon doesn't mind, a ball hitting him square in the face. It's Joe Rodon. It's I'm not questioning that for 1 minute, but I just think he just misread the situation. So I will go 7.5 Joe Rodon. No, yeah, 7.5.
Craig, what about you, mate?
I'll go same 7.5. I thought you were outstanding today. Out of the the bunch of players, you're probably one of the most outstanding ones.
Yeah, no, I agree with 7.5 for me. Before you change your mind, Oscar. Right, let's go on to Pascal next. Craig?
6.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm going to say. Oscar?
6 for me. I thought decent game, but just
Could have scored.
Let himself down. I thought.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing I'd say. I think over the 90 minutes, you'd say it wasn't like there was nothing like especially bad he did, but he just let himself down in individual moments, i.e., the build up to the free kick, some reckless moments, panicking when Paris spilled like a shot. Yeah, 6 for me. And I like Pascal, but yeah, it's not happened so far for him.
He should have scored, but decent save. But
I thought it was a good header, to be honest. I thought it was a good save, that.
Really good save. Yeah, really good save.
Goodmanson next. Joint most tackles in the game. I thought he was really good down the left-hand side. Oscar, what did you think?
Yeah, I think he was the best of the back four, actually. I know he's made that error in the build-up to the free kick, but I think other than that, and it shouldn't have led to what it led to anyway. That is the argument I keep making. I can see the argument for him being lower, but his whole all-round game was superb. I think in terms of the press, I think he really backed the press up very, very well, having to take quite a lot of risks in terms of pushing high up the pitch. Build-up play really made things happen, carrying the ball. How many times do you see Goodmanson carrying the ball 10, 15, 20 yards? The delivery was on point. I think he was really, really good again, Goodmanson. 8 out of 10. Comfortable 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 out of 10. He's probably one of my favourite, best players today for me. And yeah, I love it when he does them marauding runs. He's very deceiving now. Once he gets them burners going, he just flies past players. He had Mike Cash on toast when he was going past him. So
yeah. No, I'll go for an 8 as well for him. Right, obviously we'll go to Starch, who apparently will miss the next game as well due to concussion. 23 minutes. What would either of you rate him?
Yeah, I can give a rating out of it. I think 6.5. I think he started the game okay. Played a part in the goal, pretty big part in the goal. In fact, that's where the injuries come from in the first place. I'd say 6.5. Okay, yeah, nothing particularly great, nothing particularly bad, decent enough.
I'd agree with that. I can't mark him much. I thought it was a foul on him rather than for the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rather than trying to take it the other way and say was it a foul on the keeper, he led with his foot, which caused him to spin and have his injury. So he created the goal. So yeah, I'll give him a 6.5.
A 6.5 as well. Right, let's go Longstaff next. Oscar, what do you think?
Okay, Longstaff's an interesting one, really, because I think off the ball, I think he's one of our best players on the day off the ball in terms of backing up the press. He was everywhere, but with the ball, there was some times where I thought, we need a bit more from Sean Longstaff here. And I like Sean Longstaff. I think there's a player we've seen at times this season, especially with the first couple of games. I think he was consistently one of the best players on the pitch, if not the best player on the pitch. I do think his actual passing, I think, has dropped off a little bit in recent weeks. I think obviously he's having a bit less time and space. I think teams are respecting Sean Longstaff more in terms of giving him less time and space, because I think when you think Sean Longstaff, you think more for his off-the-ball qualities and late runs and things like that. But his set-piece delivery was really good as well. 7. Yeah. And what I'd say about Sean Longstaff is I do want to see a little bit more in his passing game in the next couple of weeks. But 7 out of 10. Yeah. I thought it was good, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd probably... That's again agree with a 7. I can't either agree nor disagree with it because he is lacking. He's slowly going up and down, like you say, off the ball work, amazing. Like you can't knock it; it's fantastic. But his set pieces are not as good as what they were when he first started taking them, and his shooting. Like what happened? Remember the goal? The goal that he scored, and now he can't. Like today, he had a pretty similar chance.
Yeah, a few to be fair, a few little hard chances.
Yeah, a couple of shots. But yeah, it's something to be desired. But he's an integral part of the team, I think. So
I'm tempted to go 0.5 high, solely because that interception that he done. They had a counter attack and he just jumped up and headed it, where Bo ended up winning a foul in the first half. Just that little bit for me, I thought was the awareness of the fact that the ball's coming over, and he just jumps up and just wins the ball with his head. But I will stick with the same as you guys. Did you say 7?
Yeah,
I'll stick with a 7 now. Right, Ampadu next. Craig, let's go for you first for Ampadu.
Probably it's a tough one because he's good in parts. Ampadu overall, like he's usually generally pretty good, and it was good today. But there's certain parts where he holds onto the ball too long or makes a wrong pass out of defence from that defensive midfield part. So I'm just going to say 7 as well for him.
Oscar?
Yeah, same 7. I think nothing to really criticise. Nothing especially good. I think he just did his role well on the day. Nothing like outstanding. 7 out of 10. Decent enough game for Ampadu. No dramas either way.
I'm going 7.5. Solely because the amount of tackles that he made in the middle, I thought he dominated that midfield alongside another player that we'll touch upon in a bit. Just the way he broke down their attack, I just thought that he was defensively really, really good. So, yeah, 7.5 for me. Right, Aronson next. Oscar, do you want to go first? I love that. Just that Aaron. As soon as I say Aronson, everyone's just like, "Yeah, I don't want to have my say."
It's just thinking of Craig's going to say. Right, Aronson, you have to break down Aronson in 2 halves, essentially. First half, 7. I actually thought he was pretty good first half. I wouldn't say, I think people went a little bit over the top at times for his first half. Second half, yeah. It's no, genuinely, it was. You know what I mean? I thought I was watching my Leeds content creator cup highlights in the second half of Aronson. I mean, he just could not keep giving the ball away.
They do say it's a game of 2 halves, don't they? So I mean,
this was dramatic. I will go on that basis 5.5. I'll go 7 and a 4, so 5.5. I go. Feels generous at 5.5, but it was not good.
Craig, what about you, mate?
Do you know what? I like how he's done that, and I think we'll come out. But I'm just going to give him a straight 5. I don't think he deserves that extra. If he's giving him a 7 in first half, a 4 in second half, we'll give him a 5 because his second half performance was a lot poorer than his good first half performance. So I think it's
I will go 5.5 as well for Aronson, only because I like him. Right, and going on to Okafor next. Craig, obviously, yeah, I'll let you go first, Craig.
He's frustrating. He's a frustrating player. He's good. He's a game changer, and he is the one that's going to make something happen out of nothing. Like I said about Goodmanson having cash on toast, Okafor did it a couple of times. He had him. He had his number when he was taking him on, but he didn't do it often enough. And one thing I don't like about him is that that he rolls his foot over the ball as he's dragging it along, and he loses it sometimes by doing that instead of just being more controlled on the ball. But yeah, he just needs. I think he needs more confidence in his own ability of what he can do.
I mean, I understand why he's not as confident as what he was, say, at Red Bull, because he's only been playing bit part. He's had injuries. It's only like the first time in a long time he's been playing 3 or 4 90 minutes in a row. Yes, I know the international break that's there, but when he gets the ball, he's not that edge of your seat player, but he's almost that edge of the seat player that gets you excited.
Yeah.
He's
But
I
I think what he needs though, apart from a run of games and his fitness to come up, is he needs a team to be playing well around him.
Yeah.
Because if your team's got no confidence, you can't do it all on your own. And I think, but there's moments like that. What Oscar said earlier about the pass, we was driving towards he was driving towards the box, and he just tried to lay it off to Tanaka, but it was a rubbish pass.
Yeah,
it went straight to a Villa player, and it's like you could see what he was trying to do, but you could see the easier option is just play it in front of you or go through yourself. Like you had the beating, you had the momentum on the defenders. Go through yourself and have a shot, but yeah, he sometimes makes the wrong decision at the wrong time.
But then again, at the same time, when he loses the ball, he's good at pressing and winning it back. So
yeah, I think that's
that's what I mean. You can't. I mean, players like that are going to lose the ball a lot. I'm not frustrated that he loses it so much. I'm frustrated that he can do better. He makes the wrong decisions sometimes. Because, like you said, like we talk about Aronson losing the ball. He don't do anything with it. He loses the ball and that's it. And then it becomes an attack. Whereas if Okafor loses the ball, at least he's trying something, or he'll try and get the ball back. So I'd probably say a 7.5.
Really that high?
Well, first half, I thought, saying that, yeah, first half I thought he were really, really good, but
I mean, I love Okafor. You know, I totally
probably dropped off in the second half a bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, to be fair, I think he started the game quite slowly as well. I actually didn't notice Okafor until sort of 25 minutes in. And I know he's that type of player. I think wingers are naturally inconsistent. It is the nature of the position. And when I look at Okafor, I totally agree, Craig. I think he's the player you look at and think, I've said it many times, he's the player who's going to get us out of this situation. If anyone is going to get us out of this situation, who's going to make things happen. And we don't get the ball enough to Okafor. We don't make enough out of what Okafor's qualities are. If you're going to Okafor is a player we want to get the ball to feet to. We want to get the ball into his feet and let him drive with the ball. But the problem with that is, with the way we're set up at this moment in time, is we don't give him runners to aim for, to create for, or to give him decoy runs. Metri doesn't do it enough. Calvert-Lewin's more sort of a link-up player. Aronson's certainly not sort of a runner in behind. He hasn't got the pace or the ability or the power to do that. That's where you need a Dan James. I've said it many times. Dan James will benefit from Okafor. Okafor will benefit from Dan James. Same with Willie Nonto to a different extent. We have to start doing that.
And that's how Farke usually likes to play. Like last season,
exactly. That's what I can't understand.
All Solomon, it goes down the left like 70% of the time. Then you get Dan James down the right, like 30% of the time. And if you're having more joy on that side, it goes down the right hand side.
A 4-3-3 should be about the wingers as much as anything. If you've got a solid midfield three, your creativity is going to have to come from the wings or your fullbacks. Yeah. Why are we playing Brendan Harrison on the right wing? In that situation, what is the point of having such a solid midfield three? The whole idea is to have a solid midfield three that you can push both fullbacks on. That's the essence of what Farke wants to do. He did it with Norwich with Max Aarons and Jamal Lewis. He's trying to do it with this Leeds team with obviously Bogle and Firpo, then Bogle and Goodmanson. It's the essence of what Farke ball is supposed to be. What is the point of having a solid midfield three if you then want to have solid players in your front three? Calvert-Lewin, I like Calvert-Lewin in terms of what he offers, but Calvert-Lewin's not going to be an output machine. You can't then put other players around him who are also not output machines. Aronson, what's he got? 11 goals. I think I read it before. 11 goals, 6 assists in 100 games for Leeds United. Yeah. Most of them games in the Championship. Most of those games in the Championship as well. You cannot. It can't work. I'm going to lose my head here a little bit because it can't. It's just crazy. It is absolutely crazy what we're trying to do, and I don't want to have a go at Brendan Aronson because I don't even think it's Brendan Aronson's fault. He's not a right winger. If we're saying anything,
he's never been able to take a player on, has he?
He's not got pace. He can't go down the outside. He hasn't got a weak foot. Sorry, he has got a weak foot, but he's not very good with the weak foot. That was certainly what I meant.
Yeah.
Did not mean it the other way around.
But even with Aronson on the wing and Okafor on the wing, you don't see Goodmanson or Bogle trying to run past them for the overlaps. No. Whereas last season, it was constantly happening with James and Bogle. They were constantly over and underlapping each other. Same with Firpo and Solomon. And yes, I know it's a whole new left side. I get that. But first game, when you had Goodmanson, Statch, and whoever was on the left wing, the first game, three of them were linking up fantastic. And all of a sudden, that's gone. We're not having that little triangle on that left-hand side anymore. And it's either Goodmanson's running or Okafor's running. There's nothing to support that player.
Yeah, but you because of last season, the way it set up last season, when the left back or your right back bomb forward, your defensive midfielders spin like invert out. They come out.
Yeah, but you don't have that. Anthony's not dropping to make that.
Yeah, but you've not got that cover if they're bomb forward now. So what they're doing is because you've got a too compact in midfield, so you've got nobody covering on the wings if they bomb forward, and plus he's being a bit. I think he's being a bit too cautious.
It feels like it's a complete mess at the minute, and we're between
ideas. This is what I said about with Farke. This is not his system. This is not how he plays. He's trying to do something to change things and make us a bit more solid, but it's not how he plays. So play how we play. Play the way that you know how to play and see what happens. That's
Right, Okafor, I'm going to give him a 7. Oscar?
I'll go 6.5. 6.5.
No, that's fine. Right, we'll quickly move on to Mecha before we go on to the subs. Obviously got his goal, but what else did he do?
Yeah, well, come on. I mean, come on. Let's not just read off a stat sheet here because
and his goal.
No, sorry. That sounded really direct and get their mic head. Sorry. I'm in a bad mood. That's what I've read. What I've read on my because it now means that everything he did was wonderful. No, it doesn't mean that at all. The defender.
No, you haven't got an excuse, Mike, because this is
into Metra and it went in the back of the net.
Yeah, it is shin and went in the net.
That's what I mean. That's all he done was he scored. So what else did he actually do? That's what I'm trying to say.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry, it came across like I was having to go at Mike, and I didn't want to do that because Mike's a great man. But
obviously, we got the award.
Yeah, exactly. And the socials one, the neck. Right. You look at Mecha, okay. The hold-up play is just not good enough. Too weak in the hold-up play. And I think his actual football IQ is high. I think Mecha understands this game pretty well. I think he does mix it up between dropping deep and being able to run in behind. I think he runs the channels pretty well. But we need more. We really do need more from Mecha to be the starter. And I quite like Mecha. I actually personally see Mecha as more of a player in the front two. When we go to, if we're going to switch to a 4-2-3-1, I'd much rather see Mecha as a second striker or a 10, whatever you want to call it, instead of Peru. Because I think Mecha, can work off a big target man. I think he can strike a ball. I think there's a lot of good things with Mecha's game. But today, my word, when we needed the striker to hold the fucking thing up, the ball, Mecha just didn't do it. That's the thing. And I think the problem with it is, I think we've massively taken what Calvert-Lewin brings to the team for granted. I'm not totally defending Calvert-Lewin because there's elements to his game he's got to improve as well. But you really do feel it when Calvert-Lewin's not on the pitch in terms of in a physical presence. We saw it against Forest. We've seen it against Villa now. I don't look at Metra and think he's an option as a lone striker for this team. I think he's a very good squad option to have at times to bring off the bench. I think he's far better squad option than, say, a Joel Peru or Brendan Aronson is, with the greatest respect. And yeah, he's just not a lone striker at all. He can't go down as easily as what Lucas Metra does. And sometimes he is fouled. Listen, sometimes the referee has not picked up on a foul. Let's play at this level for a struggling team. He has to be tougher than what he is at this moment in time in terms of holding the ball up. And he's got the presence. He has got the physical presence to do that. And yeah, frustrating. Anyway, the short answer is it is a 6 out of 10. Metro. I thought it was fantastic how he got in the way of the ball as the defender cleared. I thought he knew exactly. I thought he read that exactly, and his stats are not at all misleading with that situation. I mean, how someone could score 2 goals and I've not really rated our performance. I don't actually know, to be fair. But that just maybe that says more about me than it does Metro, to be fair.
But it's club's top scorer so far, isn't he? So
Exactly. Top scorer, man.
3 goals.
Three goals. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, Craig, what would you rate him just out of 10?
I wasn't even going to rate him a 6 because I thought I'm not, and this is not a slight on Metro as in like he's a bad player, but he's not a lone striker. Like I think what they've done is you've got three strikers that if you add all their attributes rolled into one, you've got a striker.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But we've got a bit of one, a bit of another, and it's like you can't play all 3 into one player at the same time. But yeah, he's not a lone striker. You can see that he can't hold the ball up. But and I've said this before, Oscar, that he would be a good option if you're going to play the 4-2-3-1 that he likes to play. He would be a good option as a 10 because
exactly.
in the Bundesliga he ran from deep and he needs to be running with the ball forward.
We saw it in Dublin, Craig. Against AC Milan in the early bits of pre-season. Against Man United. How often he was dropping in. He was fantastic in that Man United game. He was really good in Dublin. I thought in terms of just playing off a striker, and I thought it worked really well with Metro. And I don't see it as Metro or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think it has to be Metro and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If we're going to
you could have Calvert-Lewin winning the balls and Metro picking them up and
flicking them on. Yeah, it can work. But, that won't happen because we've got Joe Carew and Brendan Aronson to play. I mean, this is madness. We've got Joe Carew and Brendan Aronson, so let's not put wacky ideas like trying different players in number 10. The players that haven't worked for the last 2 years in the number 10. But let's not try different ideas here. Because that's just madness, lads. That's just madness.
Right, I'm gonna go for a 6. Is that generous? 6?
I'm going to give him a 5, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I think 5.5. The only 0.5 for the goal. But yeah, anyone that is listening on Spotify, watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know your thoughts all on player ratings and on the game as well. Let's just move on swiftly to Tanaka. Obviously, came on and came off.
Yes. We can discuss good players now.
Craig, I'll go to you first.
I don't mean it quite that badly, but yeah, we discussed our best players.
Right, so Tanaka came on. I thought he played brilliant. Really, really well in that mid. Him and Ampadu complement each other so well. Rating wise, I'm going to say 7.5.
What? That low?
Right. Well, what would you rate him?
He was our best player, I thought, on the day. I know we only played about 45 minutes thanks to Mr. Farke, but I thought Tanaka was much better than some of the players we've been speaking about.
So what would you rate him then?
I'd be going 8.5.
Craig?
I was going to go in as an 8. I don't think you're out that. I don't think you're on pitch long enough to do an 8.5.
The difference between the team before he came on and after he came on. Sorry, before he came on, whilst he was on the pitch, and then after he came off the pitch, I think was big enough to justify.
It was a big difference. But like I said, I said it earlier on in the show, wasn't a foul for me. So he should have never got that yellow card in the first place. But yeah, he's not out of his depth at this level. He just needs to run the games to get used to it and used to the pace.
He can actually pass a ball. That's the biggest thing. Look at it and say, with respect, to the midfield, we haven't got that many great passes of the ball, and it just makes a big difference. Someone who can just take the ball to his feet, turn, and just open up.
It just calms things down, though, doesn't it? It just calms things down.
He knows when to calm it down, and the amount of times he gets on the ball as well is encouraging. He doesn't ever hide from the ball. It's just like, how are we not building the midfield around our best passer? How are we not building the midfield around one of our best players last season? How is it a case of our best 2 players last season, Al Tanaka and Dan James, can't get in the team? How can that be the case?
Stop talking sense, because
But how can that be the case? That is what I can't understand. How can that be the case?
There is a comment here saying that back to Metcha, that he should have had a penalty. To be fair, at one point he was dragged down in the box. Did either of you think that we should have had a penalty? Well, just say yes or no if you remember it.
No, I wouldn't want to see penalties for that. I'd like him to see them for us, but no.
If you were against us, I'd say no. That's not.
Yeah, I'd be freaking out if that was against us.
No, that's fine. Right. So did I say 7.5 for Tanaka?
Outrageous.
I'll go up to an 8 then. All right.
I'd go 10 to be honest. You know, because it's just.
We don't give out 10s lightly on this show, Oscar. And Oscar, quick one. I'm so proud of you for finally giving 0.5s, because I know that you've struggled in the past with 0.5s.
Yeah. No, that's all good. That's all good. You want me to bite there, aren't you? I'm getting enough tonight so far.
Right. I forgot to wear my suit. Never mind.
Right. Do you remember that? You're the worst move now, Craig. And I'm not seeing your pink suit, and I'm not saying, you're not wearing the same suit for the Contact Awards.
I didn't know you were coming on until last minute, so next time.
Here we go. You could have maybe a little bit happier, but oh no.
There's one other player that you just mentioned then, Dan James. Obviously, Dan James and Calvert-Lewin both came on. Oscar, what would you rate both of them?
Well, seeing as he's the natural winger, he just doesn't seem to get in the team. That's the issue with Dan James. But as soon as he came on, we go 2-1 down. He's really unlucky there, Dan James, so that's not led to a goal. As far as I'm concerned, you can't. The fact that Metcha has come out of the game with a goal, and James hasn't come out of the game with an assist, just shows you how rubbish and much nonsense the stats are at times. With respect. It does. So I'm not. No, genuinely though, it is mad.
No, I know what you mean, mate.
I don't mean to an extent that it's like.
I tend to agree though. It's like playing a square peg in a square hole. What sense does that make?
Yeah, why do that? Why not play Brendan Harrison there? Yeah, why not play Joe Peru out there?
Yeah.
Rating.
To answer his question, 7.
What for James?
Yeah. I think there was enough in there to say a 7.
And for Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
I can't blame him, on the goal. He's just literally bounced up at him. I think the movement was actually really good. I actually criticised Calvert-Lewin more for something later in the game where Bogle put a speculative ball into the box, and Calvert-Lewin's just got to make more of it for me. Just work the keeper more than what he did. I think it was 6, I'd say. Yeah, that seems about. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't happen like he should be lower or higher or lower.
I think he should be lower for.
Fair enough. I'm not going to contest it, Mike. Don't you worry. I'm not going to contest it.
Craig, what about you first before I give my rating?
Right, well, I'll go 5.5. I'll go in the middle for Calvert-Lewin. But I do think Dan James deserves a bit higher, because I think if you're going to say, like, when Tanaka came on, he changed how we played. And I think when Dan James came on, he did the same. He had the same effect, changed how we played, give us a different dynamic, like almost equalised if it wasn't for, Calvert-Lewin getting in the way. Almost equalised and created another goal for us straight after, which would have been an equaliser. And it's just so good to have Dan James back, seeing him happy, running with that pace. And the frustrating parts of him, where he cuts in on his left-hand side and takes them pop shots. I mean, he gets one on target in maybe 50, but it looks good when it comes off.
Watching the Gareth Bale videos.
Yeah. It looks good when it comes off, but
unfortunately, it comes off about once every 10 years or so.
Yeah. Instead of just putting the ball in the box, because I like to see him run to the byline and just pop that ball straight across. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.5.
Yeah, I agree with the 7.5 for James.
So you're giving Dan James the same as Tanaka?
No, because I changed Tanaka to an 8.
You're only giving him half a mark higher than Dan James. Sorry, you're only giving Tanaka. That's ludicrous. I love Dan James as well, but that's ludicrous.
That's how I saw it, and
I'm joking. I'm trying to get you to fight because I've bitten enough tonight. It's like
I'm only giving DCL a 5.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Right, last two. We'll quickly do it before we end. Nonto and Pirro. Craig, what would you rate either of them, if anything? Like that.
Well, both of them had chances to just shoot. I mean, Pirro did shoot, but the man, rather than go through. But Nonto usually has a shot from outside area, and it just dances. It took it too long, but yeah, 6s, 5.5s.
Oscar?
Well, I think Peru, to be fair, in terms of the actual, in the actual in the build-up play, I thought Peru was really effective. But then I realised he was playing for us and not Aston Villa. At that point, it was, and at that point you think, actually, no, this isn't happening, because every single time Peru gets the ball, he's either it's just unfortunate, because Peru's been a very, very useful player for us over the last couple of years in terms of getting us out of the league. It's 19 goals. But unfortunately, I have to just be honest about this. He's not a Premier League player, ultimately. I think it's games like that where it sort of tells, where the opposition's sort of sitting in. Peru's got chances to get shots off. He's not taking those chances. That sort of ruthless edge to his game isn't quite there. I think physically he just doesn't look at it. And I think a 5's generous, but I'll go a 5. Nonto, maybe slightly better. Drew a foul out of Cash. A couple of decent ball in the box as well, from what I can remember as well. Maybe a 5.5, but again, I can happily drop that down. But for me, as harsh as this might sound, I look at maybe putting Metra in the 10 compared to Pereira in the 10, and I just think it's just different levels for me. And I don't even think Metra's necessarily the answer, and that just kind of sums it up to me. And I mean, oh my fuck of me, if in terms of Peru,
if you're talking in terms of
the attacks broke down, it's just it was difficult to watch.
If you're talking in terms, Oscar, though, and we say this every week now, but you're talking in terms of a team fighting relegation to stay in this league, our players are not good enough.
Oh, well, in certain positions, yeah.
In certain positions. There's probably like 1 or 2, 3, maybe 4 push that can play at this level. But I think overall, the team...
But when you look at it, though, like, we've took off Altanaka. I know it wasn't the direct sub we did, but we took off Altanaka and, like, 5 minutes later put on Joel Peru.
That's what I mean.
What's going on? Kind of thing.
People say you're only as good as what your bench is, aren't you? And we haven't got bench players that are good enough for this league.
And you're going to need a bench, because very rarely you're going to put out a team where it's going to work perfectly for 90 minutes. You're not going to need any impact from the bench. It just doesn't happen. It really doesn't happen. And
I don't want to mention his name, but there's only one management there that can bring on League One players and do anything, make them look good at Prem level.
That's it. I mean, but it was like Tyler Roberts-esque. When Pereira's gone into that 10, I have thought, am I watching Tyler Roberts here again?
Yeah.
It's well, at least Tyler Roberts was, could press, kind of thing. That was the other side of it.
I mean, it's tough because I do like Pirro, but as a poacher, dropping deep, like last season, he had games where he could drop deep and it worked for him. But the Championship defenders compared to the Premier League defenders are heads and tail above. You're not going to have that space to run at players in the Premier League. So you need him in the box to actually finish. But when you're not creating anything, he is literally just a player that shouldn't even be there. We're down a player because you're not attacking right. So it's tough. I mean, is he a Premier League player? Not in this system.
Oh, is he a Premier League player at all, though, Mike? With respect,
I don't know, because at the end of the day,
Mike, Mike, are you there? No. With respect, Peru is someone who is just, unfortunately for him, for me, he's stuck in between being a very good Championship player and being a nowhere near good enough Premier League. He's Adam Armstrong. He's our Adam Armstrong to an extent, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean, but like I said, poacher-wise, as a finisher, yes. but it's the other bits of his game. He can't hold the ball up. His passing and his layoffs are shocking. We've seen that so many times. So that's not what I'm trying to say. But as an out-and-out finisher, yes, he could be, but he needs that someone else with him. But I don't think he would work well with Mecha or DCL up front with him.
We need someone pacey, like seriously pacey to cover.
That's like I would say Pirro and Nonto, for example, but I don't think they complement each other. I really don't.
Yeah, it's just isn't that for me. I don't want to be too ruthless here, but if
who's going to win an header there?
No, exactly, that's what I mean. There's no reason to win the header.
In fact, Nonto won an header today. Did you see that? Did you notice that?
I will now rate Nonto a 6 out of 10.
What for that header? I'm going to rate Pirro 5 and Nonto 5.5. It's tough because if you put that team in the Championship, it walks it all day long. But in the Premier League, it's a completely different kettle of fish. And the management, it's the in-game management. He hasn't got it. So I will leave this episode with the last question. So anybody watching this, listening, let me know your thoughts. And you two, yes or no, should he be sacked? Oscar?
Yeah, yes. To be honest, yeah. It's just like, listen, Daniel Farke, I believe, is a good coach. I will still say that. Yeah, he's done great things for the football club. Obviously, getting us out of the league, he's done his job in that regard. Albeit, I did think we should have got out of the league in the first season. I think losing 3 times to Russell Martin Sampson does definitely leave a bad taste in the mouth in that regard. Second season, I can't have any real complaints. At times, it was frustrating, but we ultimately got the job done. Farke did what he had to do. Obviously, having lost Rutter, Somerville, and Archie Gray, but this season started well. You know, first 6-7 games, I was happy what we've been doing. But I think since Burnley, Burnley, it feels crazy to say it was only like 5-6 games ago. And it just feels like it was a lifetime ago. It was only like last month. And it feels like I feel like I'm being knee-jerk saying he needs to go, but it's been that bad since then. I genuinely think it has to be the case. And the worry for me is, I personally think it should have happened after Forest, because we've now got a situation where if we did do it before Man City, we've either got the new manager having Man City at home as Man City away as the first game, or if you leave it till after Man City, he's then got Chelsea and Liverpool. It's like we've timed it wrong. This was a game where, for a new manager coming in, although it's not an ideal game, it was a game where Villa weren't great. Villa haven't been great this season. I know they've had sort of moments in games, and I know they battered Bournemouth a few weeks ago, but ultimately Villa aren't the Villa of like sort of the last couple of seasons. I don't think they're going to finish as high as what I maybe thought at the start of the season. That was the time to do it. We've now left it too late for me, in terms of not too late. You know, that's a bit melodramatic, but we've left ourselves in a bit of an awkward situation now. I just don't. The way I look at it with Farke now, just to finish this off, I don't see how this improves. I don't see. This is the thing. I don't think it's a case of could we be better here? Could we be better there? I just think we're so weak in so many areas tactically. I just don't see how it's going to improve. And the substitutions, taking Tanaka off is at that moment in the game. I know we had the booking, but that is such bad man management for me. Unfortunately, I'd love to say it wasn't, but it's such bad man management. And for me, it's time to say he'll get a good job elsewhere. I don't question that for 1 minute. I think he's a good coach, but this needs a reset. It feels tired. It feels like Farke's not really got any answers. I think you see it in his press conferences as well. I don't know how anyone could look at Farke at this moment in time and think that's, that he's going to turn this around. I just think sometimes it happens. Good coaches, sometimes it happens where the energy goes out of the room and it needs a refresh. And I just think that's the case, really. And I'd absolutely love this video to come back at me and we finish 15th or 16th in the league, and I'd happily be proven wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd absolutely love to be proven wrong. But I don't think I will be, to be honest.
No, Craig, what about you, mate?
He's making it very difficult for me to defend him anymore. Put it that way.
I know your thoughts on him.
Well, I like him I like him, and what he's done at Leeds. I love how he steadied the ship, and yeah, he didn't get promoted in that first season, but last season were brilliant, and he's a good manager, especially at that level. You can't deny it, but yeah, there's some of the decisions and like Oscar said, I'd love for it to work out. I'd have loved for it to work out and keep us up this season, and prove us all wrong. But he's just making it very, very difficult now for me to defend him anymore with some of these decisions. And whether I want him out or not is a different thing.
Answer it. Yes or no, buddy?
I think the board have got the hands over the buzzer now, and it's
the X Factor, Craig. Are they going through to the next round or are they not?
See, for me, it's just a case of even if whoever we bring in, if we bring another manager in, I still don't think we'll improve much more. And I'm not saying that Farke's the answer. I'm just saying that I don't think we'll improve much more. I can't see, but I want to see a change. I want to see a freshness. I want to see us do something different. So from that point of view, I'm afraid that I'd probably, keep it, go with your head held high from last season and mutually sign the paper.
So for me, I think he's taken us as far as he can do. I think Forest would have been the perfect time to get rid of him, just for the international break. You got 2 weeks to bring somebody in. So unless in that last 2 weeks they've been speaking to other managers, seeing what people's interests are, what they can do for us, so they can think, right, now's the right time to get rid of him. You're in straight away. Because if they haven't got anyone lined up, there's no point sacking him. But look at Villa did. They sacked Gerrard at the right time, brought in Emery when they did, and now look at them. Got into Champions League, got into Europe, that's when we should have sacked Jesse Marsh and brought him in at the time. We've missed out. Obviously, whether or not he would have come to us or not is another matter. This is what I mean by speaking to different managers. Would you come in? Would you leave, say, your current job, whether or not it's the Glint manager, which is one that I would like to come in? Whether or not he would come in is another matter. Or bring in somebody that isn't at a job at the moment that could steady the ship, make us really hard to beat, and actually push us further on to be a Premier League side going forward. So for me,
that's the thing for me is going by the recruitment in the summer and seeing what the debacle at Rangers, the way that they handled that manager situation, it worries me. Oh, they'll bring in.
Yeah, it does.
That it could end up being worse than what we've got at the minute, and that's what worries me. At least with Farke, it's better the devil,
Oh, but the Devils. No, that's Devils done. I was about to say the Devils taking us down. That would have been really bad.
I mean,
I don't know. Do you see any way we stay up with the Farke, Craig? In your honest opinion.
Well, like you said, I just wanted to prove me wrong, but I think holding on to him too long. If the results carry on like this, the performances carry on like this, then no, I do think we'll be going down. But I want to go down. I can't see him as bringing a manager in that's going to make a massive difference.
But then you get the manager bounce, and unfortunately for us, it didn't happen last time we were in the Premier League. But you look at other clubs.
Yeah, we kept hold of Marsh in November, didn't we? We kept hold of Marsh because he beat Liverpool, and we kept him till the end of January before we got rid of him.
Have happened. We should have got rid of him just before that World Cup. Get that time to get a new manager in. Fair enough. Our worst result happened to be our best result in beating Liverpool. Had we not beaten Liverpool that season and then beaten Bournemouth, he would have gone. No two ways about it. But because we beat Liverpool, that happened to be our worst result, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if we change manager to whoever, because they don't fill me with confidence on bringing a decent manager in. That's what worries me. So it's like whoever they bring in, that it doesn't work out for them, and then like 2 or 3 months they're panicking again, and then they bring in another manager in, another. Then we end up with Sam Allardyce with 4 games left, like last time. That's what worries me with them, because I don't think that they've got a plan on who they want.
I just think that he needs to go personally, and you know me, all the listeners know that I've backed him, but like I said,
if I had internal knowledge and said, get me the Bodo Glimt manager, I'd say yeah, get rid of Farke, get him, because that gives me confidence, that gives me hope. But to go get rid of Farke, let's bring Brendan Rodgers in.
No,
don't get me wrong. When I look at the actual odds in terms of like the potential new managers, I literally want to throw up kind of thing.
That's what it
literally is a sight for sore eyes. It's just not good when I look at it.
Yeah, and
I don't believe it will be that list. I'd be very surprised if we go. It's just so unambitious.
That's where I'm at with it, Oscar. Is like, get rid of Farke for a good manager, not get rid of Farke for Brendan Rodgers, or get rid of Farke for someone like Gerrard, or Wayne Rooney.
Absolutely.
No, but this is what worries me about it, and that's where I am. Farke to be gone if we get a good if they've got someone in like the Glimt manager like Knutson or someone like that in, or the guy from Spain, what's his name?
Hugo Perez.
Yeah. Someone like that.
It'd be my choice personally.
If they've got them lined up, fair enough. Get rid of Farke, get them in. That gives me hope. But sack Farke and bring Brendan Rodgers in.
No, we won't do that.
No, but do you know what I'm saying? It's for me, that's just what's the point?
Right.
We
could rant about this for ages. We could rant about this for ages, but we will leave it there. Guys, if you made it this far, don't forget, again, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments. Let us know your thoughts on the game and Farke itself. Craig, thanks for joining as always. Oscar, thanks for jumping on, and your rants are much appreciated. So we'll leave it there. Leeds.